Welcome and thanks for joining me. We have some exciting data with a new survey we just ended on January 2nd, 2025, that shows overwhelming support for financial education among the general population. Now, before I get into the data, I want to let you know this is a survey that we commissioned through a third party agency that did an organic and randomized sampling of the general populace around the country. This was not a poll from our list and leads and our contacts. So you have a real assessment of what people are feeling across this country. And again, there's overwhelming support for financial literacy education. Let's get into the data here. The first question we asked: do you support implementing policies that mandate financial education in schools? 75%, 3 and 4 said yes or definitely yes, encouraging sign. Only 6% rounded up said no or definitely no, and 18% said maybe. Now, my commentary here on the maybe: if I was asked this question, I would likely answer maybe, simply because I want to know what's being mandated, if it's enough quality and will truly benefit the students in their real financial life. So I would be somebody that answers maybe as well. My guess is we can convert a lot of these maybe answers to yes if we listed out what would be mandated and if it would deliver real results to students. So again, even with that, still big support. This next question, it's a big departure. We asked the same question a decade ago. At what education level should financial literacy be introduced in schools? We asked this a decade ago, and it was over 60% that said high school. 60% said high school. Now we have 62%-ish that say elementary or middle school. So it's really shifted down quite a bit, which is encouraging. I'm thinking more people are seeing that financial behaviors form young. I had a neighbor, she was a grandmother, and her 4-year-old grandson charged up her credit card on these video game, whatever he's playing, I forget. And so they're understanding that kids are using financial instruments earlier and earlier, and they're seeing a lot of ads and advertisers, and they're influencing kids. So that's my opinion on why the survey has trended down since then. We have 30%, 31% rounded up of people that say it should be introduced in high schools, and 6% say college. Now we have only 1.25% that say it should not be introduced at school. So 98.75% of people agree it should be introduced in schools. Now there's some argument about the mandates, but at least there's some agreement that it should be introduced in schools. So encouraging, people overwhelmingly support financial literacy education, and I think that's great momentum for us advocates and educators out there to continue to drive this message forward. Let's take a look at the next question, which is: do you believe high schools are teaching subjects that adequately prepare students for the challenges of modern life? We have 2/3 of the country that feel schools are not preparing them for the challenges of modern life. Only 14% feel that they are, and again, another 20% that say maybe. A lot of people just don't know about the school system, so I get that. Put me in the room with that maybe group for 2 minutes, and I think I can convince a lot of people that they are not preparing kids for the challenges of modern day life. If we go back to the 5 core subjects required: English, math, science, social studies, and foreign language, those were formed back in 1892 and have been standardized pretty much since then. There's been no changes to the 5 core subjects, either at the high school level or college admission level. And back then there was horse and buggies, limited electricity, no technology. And what do we have today? A big change in the environment, and they have failed to adapt to those changes. So I think I can convince a lot of those maybes to that they are not preparing kids for modern day life. But either way, 2/3 of the country do not feel that they are. Next, we asked them specific about their finances. Do you feel schools are doing enough to prepare students for real world financial challenges? Almost 3 and 4 say absolutely not. They're not preparing them for the financial realities of life. There's no real quality financial education programs across this country on a state level The states with the highest standards only require 1 semester, which is not enough. It will do very little to actually improve their financial situation as they graduate. So most people do recognize that, and that's an encouraging sign, again, for educators and advocates. Only 12% of the populace feel that schools are doing enough there. The last question we asked was, what subjects do you think high schools should focus on teaching more? In here, personal finance was selected more than all topics combined. Personal finance was the #1 topic. Now, one important note, we left out English, the first 2 years of English from the survey, because we feel you need those first 2 years of English, which are focused on reading, writing, comprehension, and basically ability to communicate. Those are critical. But as we look, literature, 5% of people feel that they should teach more literature, and that's typically the last 2 years on the English track in high school that people have to take American literature and a foreign literature or world or British literature. Social studies, foreign language down there, science down there, math had a good percentage, almost 20%. But again, put me in the room with some of the 20% for a few minutes, and I likely can share with them a case for that not being so critical. If we look at math, advanced mathematics like your Algebra 2 or your geometry is used less than a handful percent of people in this country after they graduate. When you look at the basic Algebra 1, most people will never use that. We're talking 90% plus will never use anything besides the very basic, which is solving for unknown variable, which is important. And most kids get that by 7th or 8th grade anyway, but that's still considered a high school level topic. But again, the highlight, 62% feel that schools should focus on teaching personal finance more. So very encouraging from the financial education and advocacy side. We have public opinion on our side. We need to leverage this to really start to push mandates that will make a real difference in schools. It's not just a 1 semester or a half a semester. Those will do little or nothing. We are promoting a 4-year financial education mandate, so kids are getting career education, they're getting basic money management education, they're getting planning education through their entire 4 years. So when they graduate, they're competent and confident to make decisions that will align with them into the best area that they're going. We want our kids to graduate self-sufficient and be contributing members of society. The general population sees the problem with schools. They see and support financial literacy education. So please leverage this data to share with influencers in your community, legislature, people in the legislature, people in the school board and administration, so we can continue to get financial literacy to kids when they need it most.